This is Dagan from Baymail. I thought I'd run everyone through the new features, as I've had some feedback that it's not clear exactly what is possible on Baymail as a new thing. So without further ado, I'll stick this in a corner. So this is what Baymail looks like. If you go to baymail.me, you'll be redirected to the public page, where you'll see that you can publish Baymails to this page by adding to it here, and so that will be login prompt. You simply log in with your MoneyButton account, which should work perfectly, and then you can write a Baymail here. So taking a look here, what the intention with this was so that you can add new content, which you can do just as a simple text, and you can set the price, and that would add to here based on how much value you attach to the Baymail. So, okay, let's start just by explaining what Baymail is for those of you who are not familiar. So Baymail is a new app which is in beta, which tries to address the issue of an overflowing email inbox. So the idea is to have a whole new system that uses Bitcoin SV natively as the messaging service, which means that you can attach value to the actual transaction, so that you can pay the person that you're sending a message to with an appropriate amount, which covers either their time or is an incentive for them to take a look at what you have to say, or is a way of getting their attention. So if you drop a bunch of money into their wallet and their wallet balance goes up, then that should grab some attention, and they should investigate, oh, what is this? And then if they go on Baymail me, they can see what it is. They can see your message. So what is it good for? It's good for proof of worth. So your Baymail inbox is sorted by the highest value. The idea is that only the top 5 Baymails can be seen in your inbox, and it's evidence that it's definitely not spam, because there's a minimum amount of 1 cent or 1 pence, 1 US cent, that has to be paid for any Baymail. So it's a way of protecting your time, essentially. Privacy, at the moment, it's kind of a bodged privacy. It just SHA-256, it basically just digests your message, and only puts a SHA onto the blockchain and keeps the message in your button data in MoneyButton. So it is readable by the app, but it's not readable by anybody else. That's the idea. And it's not readable on the blockchain, whereas obviously public Baymails are indeed readable on the blockchain. So you can see that by just going to the top right of any Baymail. You can click on the TX, and you can see, here's the Bitcoin for Baymail, which is a way of identifying the transaction, and all of the data. It's in clear text, so you can actually read it. Okay, so let's add to this public board. To do that, we don't need to go into advanced mode, but I wanted to show you that, so that's how we're going to start here. So if you go into advanced mode, a couple of things happen. You can switch between them. So you'll notice at the top, you get a CC, a carbon copy. So you can actually CC, like, I don't know, CC my wife. There we go. So that's the first feature. You can actually do comma separated things. So let's also CC Jad. Shout out to Jad. There we go. So comma separated. You don't have to do this space, but that's just to keep it clean. You can put as many as you want in there, like 1,000. But you do have to pay. So whatever you end up saying, so let's just say demo public bay mail post. Okay, so if you set the price to 5 pence, it's 15 pence because you're sending to Baymail, you're sending to KCal, and you're sending to JAD. So this price sets at, a minimum of 3 pence now. So if you had 1,000, then you'd be looking at 10 pounds. So you can't spam people, which is great. Okay, so you can do, I sort of glossed over something here. So this is a JavaScript editor. The advanced editor is a JavaScript-based editor. You can do all sorts of cool things just by either hitting this plus, or you can actually hit tab. So if you hit tab once, it creates a header. So you hit enter and then header. Okay. It by default will have a paragraph with cool text effects. I just want to demo that you can bold, you can double click a word and make it italic. You can actually add a link. It must be a valid link. So let's just say Probatus. Has to be a valid link, and you'd also make it sort of a small code segment. So if you're referring to lines of code, you can either do it inline like that. If you tab twice and hit enter, you can actually enter a whole bunch of code segments. So let me just find something. So what I've been using for demo purposes is vanity address creator. So let's take a look at the vanity address creator. So address finder, there we go. So if you're looking for bitcoms, you can use this code and just replace the bay to find private keys whose public address looks like something you want. That's vanity address finder with BSV library. Okay, so that auto sizes, so it's large enough, and it'll do syntax highlighting in a bunch of languages. It's not doing it now, but it will do once it actually displays. Okay, so what else can we do? What we can do is, let's go to Bitstagram. Let's find a random large image. I'm not going to take time to do this. Let's just find this. What you need to do is copy the image address. Okay, no, so what we'll do is, actually doesn't work with Bitstagram, come to think of it, because it has these weird addresses. So let's say decode what's on chain. So api.whatsonchain.com/decode the TXID and then JPEG should get as an image. Oh, it doesn't. Okay. Damn. Okay, Bcode Media. Let's say this should work with like normal image files. It's just because it's Bitcoin based. I want to do it in a fancy way. Okay, so this is the image we will use. It has JPEG on the end. So it's important that the file format is at the end because that's how this plugin works. So I then just paste it in here. And what that's done is not bake that whole image in, but it's created just a URL that links to it. And it's told the editor that you need to include this URL as an image. So that's all it's done. Now, one really cool thing is that some small images, so let's say, let's go to the favicon, you can actually copy the image itself, then go in here and literally paste the image in. Now, what that has done is converted it into base64 URL format. So if it's a small enough image, you can actually include it like that. Cool. Okay. Right. So now let's set the price. So even if I set it to 1 pence, it's still 4 pence because it's including that image, which is some particular size. It's actually not that big. So let's just set it at 5. Okay. Great. And let's send. And hopefully that image has embedded correctly. So processing is doing a lot of signing because great. It's converting everything, all of that data into hex. So now we should immediately be able to see this. Demo public Baymail post, great. Something's gone a bit weird with the price here. That's okay. We won't worry about that for now. Cool. Okay, so there's an image in here. There's a large image. There's the code beautifully highlighted, and you can see it all works as expected. Now there's a couple of new features like replying. So the reply page will eventually show the previous post above it so that you know what you're replying to. That's moments away. There's a cool loading animation now, you can see, loading Baymails, and that will also stay on that if there's something wrong with your login. You can log out here, either on sent or archive. I tucked that out of the way in inbox because I think it's important just to have you know, all of the things that you are most interested in. Okay, cool. So once you're in your inbox, there should be no more than 5 messages here. Again, you've got the TX link there. In case anything looks wonky, you can go take a look at TX. This is just to myself. I wonder if there are some. Okay, so here's something which I CC to myself, so it's in my own inbox. Otherwise, was to Jad. It's a code example, big image, small image, so on. So we can reply to this, or we can archive it. So archiving just gets it out of your inbox. So this is an ideal scenario. I really like times in my life where I have an empty inbox, and it just clarifies things. It means you can concentrate better. So your Paymail, here's my default Paymail. If you need to change that, just hit the change button, and you can go in to your Paymails, and you can change your default. Oh, I should actually show how to do that rather than just assuming you know. Okay, so say if I wanted to change it to Bay, I would say primary Paymail here. And it might take like a couple of hours for that to refresh. There we go, there's the lovely animation. Might take a couple of hours for that to refresh. Oh, yeah, so this is going to stay on loading Baymails if you have an empty inbox. I should maybe make a little different animation, like a sad face if your inbox is empty, or a happy face if your inbox is empty. Okay, so we can take a look at sent Baymails now. So this is the demo public one that we just sent. Cool, okay. So I don't need to see that anymore. I know I've sent that, so I can actually delete that from my sent box. It's going to delete on Baymail only. The message, of course, will still remain here because that's on the public blockchain. Okay, so I can delete this sort of thing. This message just comes up just to let you know for a few seconds. Okay, cool. So here's just a couple of other examples in my outbox. So private ones have a red top, public ones have a blue top. And there's just a demonstration, 26 different addresses you can send to many addresses, no problem at all. Cool. Okay, so your archive is where everything goes, even if you've sort of put it out of your inbox. So for example, if I want to have this thing back in my inbox, I can do that. If I go back here, okay, great. So it's just that one. So that's a way to save your most important messages. Also worth noting, so that was worth 8 pence. This one is worth 3. So in our inbox, it should be ordered by, okay, so these are quite old. It should be ordered by the amount. So let's just take a look, see if this gets it right. 1, 8, no, it's got it the reverse way around because some of these transactions are old. Anyway, the point is, your inbox should be valued so the most value is at the top of the inbox. And you can see that with this one at least, 25 is at the top. Okay, so I think that's pretty much it. Any questions? Please stick them in the comments. Or do you know what? Baymail me. There's a little link at the bottom there. Stegan@probate.us, and I would be delighted to hear your thoughts and feelings on the new advanced mode in Baymail. Please go ahead and use it, try and break it. And for the super early adopters that use the earlier version of Baymail that was just simple text, unfortunately, it's not backwards compatible. If there is demand for people to see their old messages, of course, I will respond to that. I don't think there is, because it was clear that it was just sort of a testing mode. But yeah, I will stop sharing at this stage. I'll just show you a log out. That's what it should look like. And you can, of course, still see all of these in a logged out mode, because I want people to understand a little bit how it works. Okay, so thanks so much for listening, guys. Take care.